and welcome to the Moms Who Know podcast. I'm your host, Chanel Nielsen, and I'm here with my husband, James, to talk to you a little bit about balance. So we're going to talk about finding balance in life and in motherhood. And to start off, I wanted to talk about what that even means. So what is balance? And as I tried to come up with a definition for what balance is, the thing that I kept coming back to is really making time for all the different facets of life that are important. And so there are lots of things in each of our lives that we need to pay attention to have our life go smoothly and to really be doing the things that we want to do. And so balance is kind of paying attention to each of those and keeping those many things going. So James had a great analogy he wanted to share about this.
Yeah, when we first started talking about this topic of balance, I started thinking about what we had learned when we were newly married. And we met at college and we were in Idaho. And we went on these amazing marriage retreats. And we were taught by some really phenomenal people. And I remember asking one of the presenters, really a man that I admire a lot, what he thought about balance. In fact, I think I asked him something along the lines of, how do you get balance in your life? And I was really on this mission to make everything a perfect balance in my life and just have all the answers moving forward. Like, I'm just going to be this guy of balance. And I'll never forget what he said after I asked him the question. He just kind of looked at me and smiled and said, "There is no balance." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he started to explain a little bit, and he gave this analogy that Chanel was referring to of a person that spins plates. And if you've seen this before, they start with the first plate, and they go down the line, and they just keep them all spinning. And as soon as they get to the last one, the first one they've started spinning is wobbling, and they just keep it going and go down the line. And that really rang true to me that, wow, we have to keep them all going as best we can. And it's not like you're going to just start spinning the one and it's going to spin forever and you don't have to do anything else from there. It's done. That's not how it goes.
So I really like that analogy when you think about family life and balance, because if you can picture these plates in your mind, by the time you get to the last plate, the first plate is pretty wobbly and it almost looks like it's going to fall. And then the guy rushes back and then he restarts the first plate and he gets that going really good. And then the second one's about to fall. And I guess that resonates with me because in family life, that's kind of how it goes. Like, you only get to the plate when it's about to fall. And just being honest here right now, that plate for me is housework. Like, I'm doing so many other things and I'm taking care of the kids and I'm doing this podcast and I'm making programs and all these things. And so the housework plate is pretty wobbly, would you say?
I don't think I'm supposed to answer that.
But it's true, and it's like it's wobbling, and then I start to realize, okay, this is really out of balance, and it's something that is bothering me. And if I let the plate totally fall and crash, then things get really. That's when you're really out of balance. Like, you can kind of start to see when things aren't all aligned and they're wobbling. But if you get it to that next level and the plate totally falls down, in my mind, that's kind of when you're in trouble.
I agree. I would say that that's out of balance. And I like what you said before, that when it's wobbly, it's out of balance. What did you say, the wording you said?
I don't know, but it's starting to get out of balance. It's showing that it needs attention.
You bet. That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that in family life, a lot of things are like that. And then in marriage too, I think that you've got your things that can get out of balance in marriage.
With this plate analogy, I think the marriage plate is super important. One that you man, if you see it start wobbling, you've really got to pay attention to it and make sure that it's spinning well. There's lots of different plates or balls or whatever you want to say that are in the air, that are spinning, that are going, and some are more important than others. With the housework, that's something that I understand. Chanel was kind of saying, she's felt like that one's gotten a little bit wobbly, and for us in our life with our 5 kids right now, it's okay. We are doing the best we can with the house, and it's a team effort for sure. But the marriage plate has just got to stay spinning, and something that I found to keep that plate spinning well is to make concessions. I like to call them, and that's just where you're gonna realize and understand that some things aren't going to matter as much, like the house being 100% clean or whatever it is. You've got to work together to keep that plate going together. One idea that I thought of when we were brainstorming here on this was just you can't always have the perspective too of just like, well, fine, then I'll just make the other person happy and I'll just do whatever they want to do. If that's the concession, that's not going to work. Say, for instance, your spouse really wants to move out of state or somewhere that they really want to be. And if you just say, okay, fine, we'll just do that, and you're going along with it, that's just really not going to make you happy. So that's not going to restore balance to the plate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's getting too far out of alignment and you're going like out of balance the other way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you've got to take the approach of, all things considered. We've got to look at what's going to work best for the family and what's going to work best for your marriage as a whole to keep the plate going and to keep that balance going. So I think it's a good idea to take a look at all the different categories or plates that you're trying to balance in your life right now. Maybe prioritize a little bit, get your spouse involved, and hey, this is a really important plate to me. And I think you guys can work together on whatever it is.
Yeah. And I love that you pointed that out. I think that that is so huge. Understanding that some things in your life are more important than others. And marriage is definitely one. Family relationships, with your kids are another huge one. And other things, there are times when you're going to be out of balance, but you still have to keep certain things going. Your relationships are the most important one that comes to mind. Also, if you are a spiritual person, your relationship with God, those things that matter the most to you, you have to keep up with and keep a part of your life, even though sometimes things will get out of balance. So we wanted to talk a little bit about times when life is out of balance. And there are going to be times in our life when things are skewed. So we're kind of alluding to all these different plates, all these different categories. So let's go ahead and just list a few of those, what those might be for people. So the ones that come to mind are marriage, family, taking care of your health is a big
You
one.
got your job,
Your
right?
job, yes. Taking care of the house, taking care of finances could be one.
Absolutely. And then you've got to have some fun too, right?
Yeah,
So that's one. Entertainment
definitely.
on there. Just I'm thinking about a time where we're at in our life right now, and times that we might be out of balance. We we have he's not a newborn anymore. Wow, he's 18 months. But that's going to be a time where, okay, you've got a baby, so all these things that you think are super important are going to maybe have to not be so important. Tonight, I was trying to prepare some remarks that I'm going to give to some people here coming up. and I just couldn't get anything done because I was taking a turn with Carter, and I was like, wow, this is just not going well. So that's all right. I think that you've got to be willing to accommodate and be like, all right, this is going to be a time where maybe it's not going to be exactly what I hope for, but just what's most important?
Yeah, my mom always said whenever she found out she was pregnant, which she was pregnant 9 times, so that happened quite a bit. But whenever she found out she was pregnant, she would say, "Well, there go the next couple years of my life," because she just
Yeah.
knew, you've got a baby, you've got a toddler, and it's just all encompassing. You try to do other things, and it is very, very hard. And so that's a time when you have really young children that your life is going to be a little bit out of balance, and that's good. That's good because that's the priority, and so that can be a good thing. So baby, toddler, when your parents need care. So on the other end of life, as parents are getting older and you need to take care of them, or if you have another family member that's sick, something like that is going to throw your life out of balance for a little bit.
I was thinking about just my job, my career, and my spouse's career, things that she wants to do. And something that I really appreciate about Chanel is, she knows that that's a plate we've got to keep spinning for a number of reasons, right? Like we need an income, we need to support our family, and so to know that she's supportive of that particular plate that I'm trying to keep spinning and my dreams, aspirations. I appreciate that she's willing to make concessions. I might be home a little bit later, and you got to realize if that's always happening, then that's going to be something that makes the plate wobble, right? Or you can't go overboard with staying at work late. But when those times do happen, she's understanding, and I really appreciate that. And when there are times come that she needs some extra time to work on some things, yeah, I need to be willing to help out more at home and do some things that maybe I have not been used to doing. So that's just one thing that I appreciate
Yeah.
about that. Thanks.
Thanks. Yeah, I think that is a one way that you find balance in family life is by picking up the slack when the other person needs help. And our
For sure. Yeah.
our marriage is very traditional with James going out to work and I stay home with the kids, and that's another way we find balance is that kind of yin and yang where we each have different sides of the coin there. It can be different if both spouses are working and then, you have to find a whole new balance if you're both working and then you have to figure things out when you are at home together. So just kind of figuring that out and how that works for each family. So I think that when you have these times, like we were talking about, when things are really out of alignment, whether that's, with work or sick kids or sick parents, all the things we talked about, I think it's important to look at it as a time that you're going to just need to deal with the situation, a time when things are going to be out of balance, and to recognize that. And, then to find ways to find a little bit of balance. So even though you're out of balance, to deliberately say, like we kind of have, okay, things are really busy with my business right now, and so the house is something that we can let slide a little bit, to deliberately look at that and say, okay, well, we need to have time as a family. So if the housework is not 100% perfect, then that's going to be okay. And like I was saying earlier, then it started to wobble so much. Then we are noticing that and looking into putting a little bit more attention back into that. But just being really deliberate about what you're leaving out and choosing the things that are most important and that are going to matter long term.
I like that a lot, being deliberate. And I think it's super important to communicate that to each other out loud. Hey, look, this is what's going on in our lives, and let's see what we can do to keep this going a little bit better on this end where we have to focus our energy and our time and our talents and everything. So being deliberate, I think, is a huge thing that can really help.
Yeah. So some other tips for finding balance. Number one that I wanted to make sure and mention is taking care of yourself and really filling your cup. And when things are crazy in life, it's so easy, especially as moms, but I think a little bit for everyone. It's so easy to just put yourself last. And when we do that, we get burnt out. And so it's really important, even during those busy seasons, to find a way, to build in a way to take care of yourself. And even if that's something really small, going for a walk or just going outside and being in the sunshine, meditating, whatever it is for you, to find those things and that way to refill your cup is really big.
Chanel's taught me yoga, and I don't know why. I don't like admitting to people that I do yoga. It's not a bad thing. I don't know. I just always thought it was kind of a weird deal. But that's something that really helps me. That and like Tai Chi and something that can help me restore my energy. And when I feel restored, I can be more in balance in my life with all aspects of life.
Yeah, and since you brought up yoga, I'll just add that is a huge one for me also. And it's just, if you're not into yoga or Tai Chi or meditation, all of those are really good. But I love the whole idea of moving meditation, which is kind of what yoga and Qigong, Tai Chi type of things are. You're getting in that movement, but you're also getting in the meditative aspect. So it has kind of a twofer deal there.
It does, and it just helps me anyway not stress out.
Yeah.
If you stress out about being in balance and finding this balance, I it's just gonna make it crazy.
Totally. So what I wanted to, if it's hard, then number two goes along with this. If you find number one, self-care, hard, number two is build the most important things into your routine. So look at it like we've been talking about, being deliberate. Look at what's most important to you and make sure those things are happening. So I've talked before about having a morning routine, and you're going to want to keep an eye on the website because I recently came up with a morning routine step-by-step program that I'm super excited about. And that is one thing that helps me to make sure, even in busy seasons of life, that the most important things are happening every day. So for me, those most important things are having something spiritual, reading something spiritual, praying, doing my yoga, and eating a healthy breakfast, drinking a green smoothie. Those things happen every day because I have a built-in way for them to happen. So it doesn't matter how crazy the rest of my day is, I'm able to get those done. And building those things into your routine can really help you to focus on what's important every day. So the third one is to prioritize what matters and let some of the rest of it go. And we've touched on that a lot, whether that's housework that you're letting go, or you're letting go of, maybe you're shrinking your workouts. You're used to working out an hour a day and you say, you know what, for now, I'm going to do a 10-minute workout. That's all I have time to do. And you're doing that, or whatever the case may be. But you intentionally let some things go. Another idea of something to let go is dinner. Instead of having a big fancy dinner, you throw something in the crock pot in the morning, you eat it at night. It's simple. You can simplify in a lot of ways to really take some things off your plate so that you're taking some of that stress and really finding balance for the things that are important.
I think those tips are amazing and they're really doable. I think the big danger in all of this, what we're saying, is just thinking that you can't.
Yeah.
That you can't find any type of balance, that it's just too crazy. I hear that. I say that a lot. It's and I hear people say that a lot. It's just my life's so crazy. It's just too crazy. And yeah, it is crazy, busy, and we're all busy. But there is hope, I guess. There's light, and you can keep this balance. You'll find that when you're taking care of yourself and you're doing these things that Chanel was talking about, putting the most important things in your life and in your routines, that helps restore and keep balance going all the time. And it's possible. I look up to my wife so much because she does have this routine down. It's inspiring to me. Like, I want to, man, when I grow up, I want to be like you. She's
I
older.
am older.
She is older than me, yeah. So, no, but it's just helped me to realize, like, yeah, this is totally doable. You can put these things in your life, you just have to think about it, put some thought into it a little bit, communicate with your spouse about it, or a loved one, or put it on paper, or talk out loud, and figure out how you're going to do it, and it's doable.
Yeah, it really is doable. And I think that when you start to do it, you realize that it makes everything else so much easier. Because you talked about, life is so crazy and things are so crazy, but this is a little pressure release valve. These things that I'm talking about, taking care of yourself, and that lets some of the pressure off, and then things don't seem so crazy. So, the last thing that we wanted to talk about is with balance to really take a long-term approach. So what I mean by that is maybe your day, if you look back over your day, it's not going to seem balanced. Maybe your kid's homesick with the flu and you're cleaning up barf all day and you're doing the mom thing. But if you look at your week, then maybe you can see, okay, I had times when I was taking care of myself, over the course of kind of the longer term approach. If you're getting balance there, then you're going to be okay. And so, even if the moments, it's not all working out in the moment, then take a step back and say, okay, how am I going to build these times in and really find this balance that I need to sustain and to keep things up and to really focus on all the areas of my life that are important. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. We really feel like balance is something that can help as you work and think about the balance in your life. It's going to just help things go smoother and help you to feel like you're taking care of those most important things. So thank you for listening to Moms Who Know, and we'll see you next week. Hello again, it's Chanel, and I just wanted to pop on and let you know, in this episode, I mentioned my step-by-step to an amazing morning routine mini course, and I wasn't sure if that would be done by the time this episode went live, but it is, and so I'm super excited to share that with you. If you go to momswhoknowpodcast.com and then just click on the programs link, you will see this mini course. It's perfect for moms because it's short and sweet, and you can really get in there, create your morning routine, really find answers and ways to make these things happen in your life that you want to have happen. And so I hope you will go check that out. And like I said, momswhoknowpodcast.com, click on programs, and you will get all the details there. Thanks, guys. Thanks so much for listening. And if you love this episode and know of another mom who knows that when she takes care of herself, she can take better care of everyone else, please let her know about the podcast. It would mean the world to me if you would help me get this podcast out to as many listeners as I can. So if you liked what you heard, please take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star review and share this with your friends. Join us next week for the next episode of Moms Who Know.